3 months of acting as Ferrum Jesus, it's now time to share the updates with you guys. I've been traveling around the world for about 3 months at different conferences across continents, all the way from Hong Kong, San Francisco, Iceland, and Scotland, and back. And now I'm excited to share that while I was away spearheading and sharing what Ferrum can do for builders, creators, and artists around the world, with all of those that are looking to build in Web3 and investors who are looking to get behind projects that are building such technologies, what the technical team has been up to. So in this update, we'll dive a little bit deep into it, and I'm also going to share with you how you can keep up to date with the technical progress yourself without the need for these updates, even though we'll continue to publish them as they go along. So without any further ado, let's kind of get into it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and you'll see that right here now. So this is the Ferrum GitHub. I am seeing the logged in view, so I might have a bit more access, but if you, for example, go to incognito mode and put that in here where I'm not logged in, you see pretty much the same view, because all of our code that we work on is open source, unless it's something that we're working on that has to be kept private for a limited time due to security issues, right? So as you can see on the repository right here on the main page, you can see that these are various repos and projects that are being worked on that are updated on a regular basis. Some of those updates don't always make it out to pull requests or commits on the main repo, and there's a reason for that, and I'll show you how you can keep up to date with the latest updates and where these are happening. So the reason is, this is the Ferrum repo, and it works like an open source organization. Ferrum Network itself, it gets very confusing. Even though I'm the CTO here and making this video, I am not the CTO at Ferrum Network. I'm the CTO at Ferrum Labs. Ferrum Labs is a key contributor to the Ferrum Network Protocol, but Ferrum Network Protocol doesn't necessarily have a team, similar to how Bitcoin itself doesn't necessarily have a team. So as such, as maintainers of the Ferrum Network's repo, we keep it very organized in the way that any open source repo would be organized. So if you look into the Quantum Portal Explorer backend repo, you'll notice as you get into that repository, you look at the main branch and you're like, wait, hold on, what's going on here? It hasn't been updated for 2 years. And that is because we have a structure in all of our repos in place that follows a Git flow branch structure. So in this specific example, the main branch is only updated when a public release is made. So far for the Quantum Portal Explorer, we have not made a public release. So all of the work is done on the develop branch. It also standardizes for all developers how they need to work in this open source ecosystem. We just send them the instructions about what structure we're using, the Git flow structure, how they can commit and contribute to this repo, and their onboarding is near automatic. We don't have to sit there explaining to them some complex infrastructure. These approaches are very, very common in the open source space, so we've adopted and implemented them. So now, as you can see, the develop branch was last updated 11 hours ago, and it was updated by Ahad, and you'll notice here that it was updated by his specific branch. So that's another key point to understand. All of our developers at Ferrum Labs, even though they are employees of Ferrum Labs or team members of Ferrum Labs, they do not have direct access to update the code base in the Ferrum Network main repos. They update those in the same way as you would update a Bitcoin repo, or as if you update the Ethereum repo or any other repo, where they have to go and fork these repositories. So if you go and take a look at how many forks there are, so you can see that for this specific project, there's a fork by Ahad, there's a fork by Shiraz, and a fork by Zakaria. And each one of these individuals will need to do the work in their own forks. They will need to test that work. They will need to get it approved, code reviewed, and then they can open a PR that can then be merged. So you can notice in this example, of course, Ahad is the one that signed this project. He's the one that did most of the work, and he is the one that is updating it. So 11 hours ago was the latest update, and we can even see what those latest updates are. It's all very, very transparent. So if we go to the develop branch and see that there was pull request 22, so there's been 22 pull requests here clearly. So this is the one that was merged. We can go and look at what were the commits. So it looks like he is disabling some cron jobs. This is a very small change. If you wanted to understand the deeper level or the history of changes that have occurred, we would go to pull requests, look at all the 22 that have been closed out, and you can see right here, there's individual requests that are closed out over here. So now this is a project that does not have a public release yet. What about projects that do have public releases, and how do those get updated? So for those projects, let's take a look at some examples here. So I think a good one would be perhaps the Fiber Engine backend. It's going to have some release tags. So you notice here that the main branch actually is updated as of 2 weeks ago. And the reason for that, I'll bring you down. I mentioned public releases. So if you go down here, you'll notice that there are releases that are created. So we'll open this in a new tab, and you can see that these releases are actually very organized. They have a list of every single pull request that was merged into it. They have an entire change log at the commit level. So it's not just like updates coming to you on a video. You can actually go to the code base and follow along with all of the updates that are being made. Now, you'll notice that it says for a lot of these, the contributor is only Zakaria, and that is because he's the person responsible for maintaining this repo. There is work assigned to other developers, of course, and in those cases, they submit that work from their specific branches. As you can see over here as well, there's a develop branch, and that develop branch is currently 28 commits ahead of main, so there's been a lot more updates that are getting ready for a release. And there's some other branches that we keep for feature management reasons. If you want to publicize some documentation, if you want to publicize something that we might want to share with the auditors or other third parties to review, or other builders, you might want to have a feature integration for a potential builder that might have requested a specific feature or a specific functionality, and we might publish that out here so that they can integrate with that. So as you can see right here, this is a pretty active branch as compared to the 22 pull requests on the Quantum Portal one. This one has at 299. And if you go to each one of the pull requests, you'll notice that there is going to be some explanation. So let's take a look at any of the major pull requests over here. So let's look at this one close. So let's go ahead and go to this one. So there will be some explanation about what is being worked on, what is that has been contributed. You can look at the files that were changed, the code that was changed, the commits that were made. All of that detail is there. So now that we've gone a little bit deep into this, let's kind of come back and understand the projects that are being worked on, as I hinted in the general update video, which is going to be linked if you're watching on YouTube. Right here on the top, you'll be one of the places on the top, you'll be seeing the video pop up, and you can watch that video for a general update. But the main focuses have been to update the Quantum Portal contracts and the mainnet node infrastructure so that we can get it to a point where we can start to utilize the Ferrum mainnet node infrastructure for all of our updates, for all of our transaction verifications for the MultiSwap product that Ferrum Labs contributed to as well, making it a truly decentralized multi-chain DEX aggregator and showcasing a use case of the Ferrum mainnet nodes. So as you can see in the last release this is quite a substantial release, quite a few things went out. However, this release is not that, this public release is not that recent. So this indicates that there's a lot of work that is being prepared for public releases. And you can see that when you go to the develop branch here, and you'll notice that 3 days ago this was updated, and it is 87 commits ahead of main. And this is also by design because of the fact that we have not released a public release for this just yet. This is unusual on projects that are already in production. However, for projects that are not in production yet, of course, we are not making things available for public release as often. Otherwise, if you look at, for example, the releases from MultiSwap as an example, these are going to be only a few weeks behind at most. So as you can see over here, the main release was 3 weeks ago. That's when release 2.0.0 was created right here. And the develop branch is now only about 3 weeks behind. That's typically about the pattern you'll see in production deployed applications. So again, the focus right now is to start the rollout of mainnet, which is going to happen in this quarter. We're going to begin with migrating over to MultiSwap node infrastructure, over to the Ferrum node infrastructure. Quantum Portal Tech is going to handle the multi-chain messaging verification, and it's going to make it so anyone running the Ferrum node can verify transactions on the for MultiSwap itself using the Ferrum mainnet node technologies. So yeah, and the link to the GitHub will be in the description as well. Feel free to check that out. We put out some visualization items time to time as well to kind of show you the capacity and the velocity at which code is being shipped. But I'm really excited to see where this is going to go, because this is with a very small team, and as we look into capital raising efforts, we're going to scale this even further and only accelerate our shipping velocity and the value that we can deliver to the space. So looking forward to sharing more with you. Hopefully this was helpful. Make sure to check out our other videos, subscribe to our channel, leave a comment about what you liked and what more you would like to see. and we'll see you in the next video.